Hello and welcome to Rockies Recap, a part of the Rockies Now podcast network. Baseball taketh and no, baseball giveth and baseball taketh away. Misread that. Sorry, folks. The Rockies they got swept in San Francisco after one of the best stretches they've had in years, and I'm talking 2019. The Rockies get swept by the hand of the San Francisco Giants, and I guess my initial thoughts before we get going through the recaps, this wasn't I feel like this wasn't a completely horrible series for the Rockies. I just feel like, you look at the first inning there, the first couple of innings, the Rockies, they were they were still hot out of the gate. They got 3 runs in San Francisco. That place is hard to hit at some times during the year, especially depending on the weather and the wind and everything. Everybody that's been to the ballpark knows what I'm talking about. But I just feel like game 1 wasn't that bad, but the pitching had a couple mishaps. Like that 4th inning was huge. Ryan Feltner didn't have necessarily a bad start. Again, like the walks, he got a couple of them, only 2 strikeouts. It was overall, it wasn't terrible, but you do look at the bullpen. And I feel like a lot of these guys, they were used quite a bit in the Padres series, because I feel like even though it was a sweep, the Rockies had to, really push through that series because they're playing against a team that came off winning against the Dodgers and all that. But overall, game 1, it's not pretty. 6 walks, 5 strikeouts. That's not pretty at all. But it wasn't like I said, it wasn't as bad as what the score looks like it to be. But still, it was not a great game for the Rockies.
No, overall, it was not exactly the series we were hoping for in general, considering we were coming off a 7-game winning streak, and it was going to end some way, but I wish it did not. I think we all would have not preferred it not to end like this with a 3-game sweep in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said,
but I digress either way. Yeah. And it does change the standings a little, because now the Diamondbacks, a team who people are kind of some people are scratching their heads about, now dropped to 4th place, but right in front of us.
Yeah. I was just saying, like,
not me though.
Yeah. Well, Jordan Beck, he got a second home run, which was nice to see off of Black. Looked like Block. Yeah. Because you get Ty Block and Ty Black, and so anyways, he got his second home run. That was straight away to center field. That was nice to see in back-to-back games. I feel like we mentioned in the Padres series, I feel like we both are seeing Jordan Beck kind of go around that corner. He's starting to figure things out, and the only thing that we're kind of questioning right now as we head into the Oakland A's series is Jordan Beck going to be sent down to AAA? What's going to happen with Nolan Jones and Chris Bryant? That's the only question. But again, Beck, nice to see there. Jake Cave got 2 hits, went 2 for 5. I think Rogers had an RBI double. Got an RBI there. McMahon, I think did he get a home run? No, he did not. But
no.
He went 2 for 4. Looking like, again, we'll probably iterate this in the final game of the series, but McMahon looking like an all-star this year, looking likely, I think. Tovar went 2 for 5 with an RBI. So again, the offense wasn't bad. Almost everybody in the lineup got a hit, minus Stallings and Britton Doyle, which is kind of hard to believe because those 2 guys has had a good start to the season. The Rockies didn't strike out a whole lot, which is nice to see. Doyle did strike out 3 times, but again, it's not like double digits, which we've seen a lot this year. The Giants lineup, Estrada had a good game. Chapman got hot, but I think that was his only really good game in that series. And then Matos for the Giants, I think was it Matos or Ramos? Either one player of the week for the National League, and they're getting hot at the right time. And really, they were in control of the series. Again, they were red hot this series against the Rockies. Came in at the right time for them, and Yeah, I mean, Ryan Feltner, like we said, like I said, didn't necessarily have a horrible start, but he only pitched 4 innings. Pitch count got up a little bit, but bullpen gave up some runs. Victor Vodnik still has a pretty good ERA. Got a couple strikeouts in that inning, so not bad by Vodnik. Bird pitched a couple innings, got 3 walks, no strikeouts, so not great. And then Anthony Molina pitched an inning there, gave up a couple runs, a walk, a strikeout. So again, Rockies, not the greatest performance, but not horrible. But honestly, after this game, I was like, you know what? Maybe the Rockies can, you know, get a rebound in game 2 against the Giants. Let me pull that up here.
Overall, this game it was competitive for the first half of the game. For the first half of the game, it's just the Giants just took a little bit of just took control and added some insurance and just rode that to a victory. So, game 1 is I can accept as one of those games, but it obviously led to a big letdown in game 2, which is what we're going to get into now. That's one of those games. It's one of those games where you go,
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was ugly the first 3 innings, and even the
right.
8th inning. Oh gosh. Yuck. Yeah, it was like our caption for game 2 was "ow." That's literally what it felt like for a lot of us.
It's kind of like you get knocked down, and you just keep getting kicked while you're down.
Yeah, or yeah. Oh, I feel like this meme. Well, other than the 7 game series, it's like that meme from The Office where Michael's in the airplane. He's like, "Well, this year's been bad. Honestly, the entire year. Honestly, like he's talking about how the year's been rough, and that just came out to my mind. Yeah, again, ugly score. Rockies did score 3 in the third. Offense, again, 10 hits in San Francisco, not too bad. Offense wasn't bad at all. It's just the pitching, again, not pretty at all. Again, a lot of these guys were, getting hot at the right time. I mean, I take that back. Maybe Chapman did have. I didn't watch the series a whole lot. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch the Padres series a whole lot because I was kind of using that superstition because it was working in the Rangers series, and so I was like, hey, maybe I won't watch the Padres series as much. And the Rockies swept them, and so I was like, hey, maybe I'll do the same thing in the Giants series. But yeah, Chapman had a good game. Matos, he went 3 for 5, 6 RBIs. Man, that's really good. Look at his OPS, dude. 1.116, 385. Ramos, good game. And a bunch of these guys, I think, are their prospects or younger guys. So, Kurt Casale, I think he just got called up.
Veteran catcher.
Yeah, got called up from AAA, I think, as a depth catcher for them. Yeah, Tovar, did he? Yeah, well, okay, so Tovar, and this is an afternoon game. I'm starting to remember that now. So, yeah, this was an afternoon game. Tovar went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Montero went 1 for 2. I think he had, I think it was a 2-hour RBI. Yep. Along with Hunter Goodman. And by the way, it was really cool to see Hunter Goodman catch.
Yep, it was.
It was something that we've seen in spring training before. And I'm not sure. I wasn't too sure if Bud was going to pull the trigger on that because, sometimes you'll see stuff in spring training and you never see it during the season. But it was actually nice to see Hunter Goodman catch for once in a while. And I know, some people might say, well, he didn't do a good job catching. I mean, again, it's just like you put down the signals that the coach gives you, So
I think at this point, given that he's catching, I think hopefully Diaz's injury does not keep him out for long, but I think this goes to show you, I think this is a reformation signal that they are not necessarily ready to add a young catcher to the 40-man and call one of them up just yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they have to DFA somebody on the roster.
Correct.
And so I don't they could do Cave, but right now Cave is not doing too bad. Yeah, I know that a lot of us or some Rockies fans are frustrated that Cave's getting some playing time, but look at his defense. His defense has been really, really good. I mean, I think it's last time I checked, it was in the positives for DRS. It's probably
it'll surprise me if he's on this team in July.
That's it. Yeah, I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. Like, even though it's been nice seeing him make some of these defensive plays, but yeah, like with the draft coming up and the Rockies are going to have to add some more room to the roster. Of course, it's not the 40-man, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to move some guys up. Usually that's what happens, especially for some teams. So yeah, like I agree. I think once July happens and the trade deadline happens, they're going to be making a bunch of moves, probably a lot of DFAs or a couple of them. And JK will probably be one of them. I mean, last year the Rockies DFA'd Jerkson Profar to make room. trying to remember who it was. My memory's not doing well with me tonight. But yeah, Jay Cave is probably going to be one of those candidates. But again, he's not doing too bad. 273 batting average, 655 OPS. But yeah, like I said, he made a really nice defensive play in Game 3, which we'll get to in a second. Hunter Goodman, he got a double, 2 for 4. So the batting average again not pretty, but his OPS is actually not too shabby. It's close to 700. Could be better. And so he didn't strike out, so that's good. Definitely want to see him playing a little bit more. And then Alan Trejo, he got his first start in a while. I feel like it's been several weeks since we last saw him start. He's having a slow start. Of course, he hasn't been playing much, but he went 0 for 3 there. Blackman pinch hit. And then you look at the pitching. Ty Block really got roughed up a bit. 3 innings, 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Gave up a home run. So yeah, not pretty. And then Lambert came in. I thought Lambert was, I think he pitched in the Padres series in the final game. Wasn't too bad, but again, kind of got bit a little bit. 2 hits, giving up 1 run, 2 walks, and all that. Lawrence, he's starting to turn the corner. I think got 3 strikeouts there in 2 innings. Did give up a run, and then Nick Mears though. It's kind of sad to see because Nick Mears had a really, really solid start. He was actually like a late guy at the bullpen, and he'll probably stay there. I think that's where he thrives in. But again, he's in one of those cold stretches where a lot of relievers, especially on the Rockies, they usually go through some of these periods where they're struggling, and he's been struggling as of recently, as you can see. And then Tyler Kinley, I think he's doing fine. I mean, he hasn't been terrible. It's just that I feel like a lot of these, and I think he did give up a couple runs, but obviously I think a bunch of them were given up or were earned runs to Nick Mears. So, it was again ugly game for the Rockies, 14-4. And the Giants pitching was good. Their bullpen is actually, pretty solid. I think Harrison's is one of their bright young pitchers, probably one of their better pitchers this year. Tyler Rogers having a nice year. Same thing with his brother Taylor. So yeah, again, ugly game on Saturday, and it resulted in a 14-4 loss. So, and that put the Rockies at 15-30, 15 games under 500. Which, if you're talking to us, a couple of weeks ago, the Rockies, like we said before this winning streak, they were 8-28, and I mean that sounds a lot worse than 15-30. I can tell you that.
Not a game we would want to see ever, but unfortunately games like this happen, and it's one of those games where you just got to take it on the chin and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Game 3, which was yesterday. Jordan Hicks got the start, and honestly, like I think we mentioned this. I think we mentioned this in the podcast last week, but like I think both of us were kind of like shocked, or at least I was, when they moved Hicks to the rotation, because he's been a bullpen pitcher at least most of his major league career or pro ball career. I mean, maybe he did start in the minor leagues with St. Louis. I'm not sure.
I'll check.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, check that. But yeah, it was just like, I was kind of at the start of the season, I was like, oh, okay, that's curious. I mean,
he's 27, so he's in you could say the peak years of his career.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been good this year. I mean, look at his ERA. He pitched 5 innings in this game, 3 hits, only 1 run given up, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. I mean, he's not a huge strikeout guy, looks like this year, or at least looking at this game.
Well, going back to 2022, he appeared in 35 games, where he had 8 of which were starts. The last time he was a part of a rotation, was 2017, when he was in Single A, Peoria. That's Peoria, Illinois, by the way. The Cardinals' minor league A affiliate team, and he made 14 starts that year and 14 games appeared in. 2017. It was 19 starts and 22 games in 2017, and but his first full season in pro ball, he actually made 12 starts in 12 games. So he has it's been a while. It's been a while since he was a routine starter.
Yeah, so he has some experience in the
true
rotation.
He was drafted as a starting pitcher. Let's see, going back to his college days, he was a starting pitcher in community college.
Yeah, and it looks like it's working out pretty well. So far.
Just FYI, I have to double check the year, but he did have Tommy John surgery, I believe, in his second to last year with the Cardinals, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I need to check
it'll
that
be a
out.
while. So fingers crossed for him that he doesn't have to have it again for a while.
Mhm,
Again, I don't wish two Tommy Johns on anyone, but it's always a possibility given
yeah,
how pitchers pitch today.
yeah. Um,
But like as you pointed out, and I think we both are to not just our surprise, but I think many others in general, he's having quite a year.
and the Giants could definitely use it. I mean, even though
Mhm.
the record is not pretty, but I mean, they're still, again, like they're right around 500, of course. Yeah, so now they're 23 and 25. I mean, they're third in the National League West. I mean, coming into the series, they were actually fourth, right
Mhm.
below the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks. Well, now they switched spots because I think Diamondbacks lost the series to the Detroit Tigers
Yep.
in Arizona. So it's going to be one of those years where we're going to see a lot of flip flops, especially in the, maybe even the second, third, fourth place spots. We're going to see a lot of switching and everything. So that's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, Hicks, man, he's been good. I think it's Jelly. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Probably botched it.
Uh,
But um, anyway, 265 ERA. Again, they have some dudes in this bullpen. I think, yeah, the Jackson. I think that he was originally on the Braves. I remember that World Series year. Um, Camilo Doval, all-star closer. I think he's been an all-star. I think, yeah, he was an all-star last year. 3 RA, so 8 save. But yeah, I mean the Giants pitching I feel like was really good in this series, especially against the Rockies. But yeah, I mean even though it was nice to see that Mac got his I believe seventh home run of the year in the first inning. So that's nice
seventh.
to see.
Yep.
Yeah, and I again, I think what we were mentioning right at the top of the show is that I think this is the year that we're going to see Rymack become an all-star.
Mhm.
I think it's deserved too. It's not like, oh, he's hitting like 250 or 240 and leads the league in strikeouts and has a horrible OPS. No, I mean, batting average is good, OPS is good. I mean, home run numbers. I mean, I think it's among the lowest for team leaders, but still, that's not too bad. I mean, again, he's been one of the best, if not the best player on this team on the lineup. So, and yeah, I mean, it's nice to see too because I feel like we have seen an improvement from last year from striking out. I think that's just my opinion. I think we can kind of agree on that. That Mac he's having better at bats. I think he's a little bit more confident. Obviously, we see that in his batting average and his on base percentage as well, and his WAR as well. I think it's one of the best third basemen in terms of WAR this season. So Mac has just been solid, and I think he's going to be able to get that call to the not opening day, to
Mhm.
the All Star lineup or roster. I that's the question too, because of course, All Star stuff they usually have like the final vote sort of thing, or where they call you and say, "Hey, you made the lineup," instead of voting. I think Mac could get like because you usually have like first, second, and third place for votes and all that. I could see Mac being in the top three. Honestly, I know Austin Riley is going to be in the top two easily, no question. Nolan is probably going to be in the top two, top three, maybe. However, I think if I'm correct, I think Nolan Arenado is actually not doing as good as Ryan McMahon right now in terms of home runs and batting average. But I might be wrong. I mean, the Cardinals have a better record, and I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit more biased toward a bigger market team like the Cardinals than they are with the Rockies. But you never know. But yeah, Mac is having a nice year. But again, he was the only guy that really contributed offensively. J.K. did get a hit. And like we said, he did make that nice play in left field actually in this game. I think he robbed a home run or at least extra bases. It was really at the top of the wall. It looked like it was going to go over, but I think if he would have not caught it, I think it was going to bounce off the very top of the wall. But either way, really good catch. Jordan Beck, again, we feel like he's turning the corner. He got a hit. And that was actually a double off of Jordan Hicks, as you can see there in the box score. Hunter Goodman went over 3, and Jacob Stallings, I believe he had one at bat. Yeah. Did walk twice. So again, Stallings having good at bats, hitting well, 830 OPS. And as a matter of fact, right after Mac, he has the best OPS on according to this on the team. Mac has an 873 OPS. Pitching wise, Dakota Hudson wasn't terrible. I mean, lowered his ERA to 589. other than like Ty Block, who is more of a bullpen starter for the Rockies starting pitching wasn't terrible in this series. It was more of the bullpen. But actually, in this game, the bullpen was good. And I thought the pitching was good. I mean, it was a low scoring game, 4-1. The Giants only, again, they got that was the least amount of hits they had in the series with only 9. But yeah, Hudson wasn't that bad. Again, he's more of a ground ball pitcher, so he's not going to strike out a lot of guys, but he did get 3 in 4 2/3. Victor Vodnik, again, he's looking good, despite giving up a run there. But Kenley pitched good. Jalen Beeks pitched good. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, it was more of the pitching that was the deciding factor in the series, except, of course, you have Ramos or Matos who won that award. I think it was Ramos, Heliot Ramos, who won the NL Player of the Week award. But yeah, the Rockies, they just simply got outplayed in this series. It's not like a series. It's just like, oh, here we, it's just like, oh, we suck. Yeah, it feels like that way, like, oh, we suck again. But honestly, like the Rockies, like you go, we put this in our captions on our final game post that the Rockies are like 14-45 since 2019 against the Giants. The Giants just have our number. It's not like, oh, the Rockies are back to being the worst team in baseball. I honestly felt like the Rockies weren't like that. They weren't playing like the worst team in baseball this series against the Giants, because again, you were iterating and before we got on here about your White Sox, how they just did not even show up in the Yankee series. They got swept there. But yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, it wasn't like a terrible series. The Rockies, they had some good moments in this series against the Giants. It's just that the Giants have our number right now.
They didn't. Again, overall, it's a series that you wouldn't want after a 7-game winning streak, but it's just a series that unfortunately you just take your lumps and you move on from him. I guess there's a lot there were some moments in the series, including even though there wasn't much action from our offense in Game 3, we still had some moments such as J.K. robbing a home run in left field. It was left field, right? Yeah.
Yeah, left field. Yeah.
But going back to Ryan McMahon, comments. I think he definitely is for sure on his way to being, if not the lone Rockies All-Star, one of the Rockies All-Stars. Here's something for you. Among all major league third basemen, he ranks 4th in OPS behind. Here he is. 3rd is Isaac Paredes of the Tampa Bay Rays. 2nd is Alec Bohm of the Phillies. And 1st is Rafi Devers of the Boston Red Sox. And in comparison to Nolan is in a tie for 11th with Michael Garcia of the Kansas City Royals.
Wow.
So here's the difference too. Mac is currently 873 OPS. Nolan is 696.
Yeah.
And pretty much, let me just cross it here.
I do know, that makes sense because I know, Alec Bohm is having a really nice year. He might actually be an all-star this year.
He probably that Phillies team overall is full. It could be full of all-stars.
So good.
I think if not the most, I think they'll be one of the top 5 teams in terms of total number of all-stars sent to the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be in the top 5 because you got not just Bohm, you got Harper, you got Turner, you've got even Bryson Stott is having a fantastic year as well.
Yeah.
That is a damn good infield right there.
Ooh. Yeah. I think it was in the Padres series. We were talking to somebody about, Tovar, could this be his year where he gets to the All-Star game as a reserve?
The
problem is you have Trey Turner, you have, him, and then you have, Trey Turner, and then you have, Alec Bohm, who could play shortstop, but he's more of a third baseman. But, you have a bunch of these player shortstops that are in the National League, and National League West alone, like Mookie Betts. It's kind of unfair because it's just there's so many good shortstops that are blocking Tovar to, get his chance to be an all-star, because I feel like Tovar, he's going to eventually be an all-star. And I think we all know that. It's just that there's a bunch of good shortstops right now in baseball that are kind of better than Tovar. But at the same time, though, Tovar has actually been pretty solid. Not going to lie. I mean, again,
I got his numbers in front of me.
Oh, Tovar? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, here's his rankings in terms of all of baseball. He is for OPS, he is 8th among all major league shortstops. Mm-hmm. In terms of the National League, he is 4th. He's behind CJ Abrams, who's having a very good year, by the way. Ellie De La Cruz, no surprise. And then Mookie Betts is listed as a shortstop on here too.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, he's still one of the best, arguably one of the best players in the game. So
yeah, not to mention CJ Abrams, forgot to mention him. But yeah, there's so many good shortstops in the National League. It's just But Tovar, like I said, he's going to eventually get there. Just that this year might not be the year because there's so many good performers right now in the National League West. I mean, not only in the National League West, but National League in general are just doing really well. Well, like I told Tom right before we started, this is going to be a series that's going to be kind of sad emotions for me, and I think for some of us Rockies fans in general, is that this is going to be the final time the Rockies will be playing the Athletics in the Oakland Coliseum. And yeah, even though that stadium is absolutely a dumpster of a field, and I get that, and I say that literally, it's literally a dumpster. But at the same time, though, it's going to be a little bit sad because again, there's a lot of history there with that organization and with that team and the Rockies. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, maybe I'll search it up tonight, but I'm curious to see what their overall record is at the Coliseum.
I'll look it up.
Okay, yeah. Well, while Tom's doing that, let's look at tomorrow's probables. So Cal Quantrill, who's been pitching well, he'll get the start. 3-3 on the year, 3.66 ERA, 36 strikeouts, going up against Brooks. Let me click this guy, see what he's about. Aaron Brooks, looks like 34 years of age, drafted by the Royals in 2011 in the 9th round. This year he is 0-1 with a 3.86 ERA. It looks like he had it one start. It was 7 innings, 5 strikeouts. But in his career, it looks like in his major league career, he is 9-14 with a 6.45 ERA. With a whip of 1.49. Let's see here. So, so he made his debut in 2014 with the Royals. His last season was in 2022 with the St. Louis Cardinals, to where he had a 7.71 ERA. And then in 2014, when he made his debut, he had a 43.88 ERA. Of course, that was only 2 games, but that was like 2 2/3 innings. So, not a good track record, but he had a good start in his last time around, but maybe the Rockies can get to him. It would be nice. The Rockies could definitely get some wins under their belt. But we'll see. But yeah, again, it's going to be a little bit of a sad, series for me because again, I kind of like the Athletics. If I wasn't a Rockies fan, if the Rockies weren't in Denver, if there was no team in Denver, the Athletics would be definitely a team up there that would have cheered for. But yeah, I believe this is going to be a 3-game series before the Rockies head back home. But yeah, overall, the Rockies have a shot in this series. Let me see what game 2 is just for fun.
I know that Gomber's pitching game 2.
Yeah, Gomber's pitching game 2. Let's see who's pitching for the A's. Okay, Joe, is that Joe Estes? I think that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joey Estes. He's 22. I think he's one of their really good pitchers. However, top prospect pitchers. But yeah, he's not been good this year. 9.35 ERA and 2 starts. It looks like 9 strikeouts. So he's had a rough outing so far this year. Gomber, who has been really darn solid for the Rockies this year. Again, we talked about him before possibly being an all-star, ? This year. That would be really nice to see. So Gomber's pitching game 2, and then Ryan Feltner's pitching game 3. And so far for the A's, it's TBD, to be determined for game 3. So it'll probably be a bullpen game, I would imagine, for the A's. Again, they could call somebody up. But I don't think there's anybody in AAA that's ready for them at the moment. So, knock on wood. Where's the wood? There we go. The Rockies, they could have a shot here. I mean, again, you're playing. I mean, the A's are playing better this year, but again, they're not far off. I mean, you look at the record, 19-30 versus 15-31. The Rockies, they have an opportunity here to do something because, I mean, again, the A's, they had a nice start, but now I feel like they're starting to get those losses in now. So
well, I can't exactly find their all-time record at each stadium that they've ever played because remember they used to be the Philadelphia A's. I'll do that for our recap episode after the series. I'll get that for everybody here. But here's something interesting I did find. They've actually had some pretty decent payrolls in the last decade or two. Here's a couple of statistics for you. Back in 2013 and 14, they had a payroll over 89 million. In 2019, they had a payroll over 102 million, and in 2020, again, shortened COVID season, they actually had a payroll of 85 million. In 2021, they had a payroll of 94 million. So people talk about them not spending, and then of
Yeah.
course in 2022, it
Yeah.
went down to 50, it went down to 50.2 million.
Yeah, they traded Trapman, they traded Olsen, they traded basically everybody.
They traded Chris
Laz
Bassett. They traded Sean
Luzardo,
Murphy. Yeah,
Luzardo,
Luzardo to
yep, Miami.
who was that one outfielder? No, they didn't trade Lariano. Uh, what was his crap? What was his name?
Bulliday? Bulliday? No, they still have
No,
Bulliday though.
it was Steven. He played for the
Piscotti.
Cardinals. Piscotti, thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
And of course they did lose Liam Hendricks to free agency.
yeah. Yeah, Steven Piscotty brings up, the old RBI baseball game, like you could play on your laptop. I used to play that. I used to have it on my iPad. That was one of my favorite games. But then MLB, I got introduced to MLB, the show, like 17. That was my very first time getting it because growing up, I never had a PS4, so I got it. And yeah, so anyways, Steven Piscotty just reminds me of RBI baseball. I don't know why, because I used to do all these different franchises. I did a Cardinals franchise. I think I won a World Series, but yeah. But yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
just I don't know if you remember this name. Do you remember a player by the name of Miguel Tejada?
yeah,
He was a longtime shortstop. He played for the Orioles and the Oakland A's.
yeah.
I remember there was a game called MVP Baseball. He was on the
Oh, yeah.
2001 version of that game.
That's arguably the best baseball game ever, honestly.
2005. 2005
Yeah,
is the best version
yeah,
of all.
yeah.
Is one of the best baseball games ever.
Yeah, my brother, again, like if we want to turn this into a video game segment, we will do that. But just to finish off off the recap, but my
Yeah.
brother, I think he had it. I think we still have a box of it somewhere, like down in our
I still
basement.
I still have it. I can go
Yeah,
grab it.
yeah, and again, like my brother, he would do Rockies, and again, I think you had Gwen Kuiper, who was like the announcer on there, and I forget the other guy, but it just
Dwayne
is.
Kuiper, I got it for you. It's Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow.
There you go. Yeah, that's the name. But yeah, I remember like my brother would play that. It was honestly that was like, and still to this day, I think it's the best. And honestly, MLB The Show needs to take notes for that
Mhm.
because I mean the graphics weren't great for its time. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It was actually good for its time. I take that
Yeah.
back. The commentary was actually good. I think it's actually been the best it's ever been. Yeah, it's so many good modes and everything. But yeah, I just remember my brother would be playing that, and it was so much fun. And then, of course, I got introduced to other, baseball games. But I mean, MLB 2K wasn't that bad in my opinion. It was actually nice and solid. There was a couple of issues with that as well, but yeah, just like it's like video games back then were just so fun. I mean, again, I was young. I wasn't, I didn't have a computer yet. Obviously, we didn't have a PS4. But just looking back, it's just like, man, MVP baseball, MLB Dugout Heroes. If people remember that, I know that was some games that some people played. Again, that was so much fun. I actually got to play that a little bit on my brother's laptop. But it's good to recall all this stuff back. But yeah, when you mentioned Steven Piscotty, I was like, oh yeah, RBI baseball. It's been a while since I played that. And of course, I haven't. I think the last one I got was like 2017. I think when I got it, and then again, I got introduced to MLB The Show finally, and I started playing that. But yeah, I agree with you. MVP baseball is overall the number one. Video game, baseball video game of all time. But
Mhm.
I mean, I guess I'll quickly mention that EA also just released college football this week at 25. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get it though.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I've told you, Tom, and of course I don't know if people who are listening or watching this know that I'm not a big college guy. I mean, I'll watch it, but I'm more of a pro guy. I mean, down south, I think a lot of people are obviously more toward college football, college basketball. But for me and my Colorado blood, I don't watch college sports like other people do. But
yeah, but either way, it's MLB The Show. Take note, owner mode. Start that
yeah,
one.
yeah. Oh, please do. And then like the best part, like I mean, I know MLB The Show they've done like create your own stadium, but it again, they left out some stuff that, like, again, MVP baseball did so much. It was just so like you could create your own player, and then like of course, again, a lot of the stuff you can do, but again, it was like so easy access. But it was like, yeah, it was I don't know, it was a lot better, and it just the way that the game was, it was fun. It was fun, and I'm not saying MLB The Show is horrible, but it's gone downhill. I'll just say that, So
Mhm.
again, MLB The Show, take notes. But yeah, I think going into this A series for the Rockies, just pitch well. Again, the best pitchers that they have that have been pitching for the Rockies this year, they're going to be pitching in the series. So, again, knock on wood that the Rockies can, pitch well against a team that, again, their offense hasn't been that great. I mean, Brent Rooker, he was an All-Star last year. There's rumors going around that he could get traded. I know some Braves fans really want him because again, there's that history with the Braves and Athletics, trade partners. So I don't know, will he go to the Braves? I mean, the Braves are already so good; they don't really need him at all. So, and they already have Jared Kelenic, who is now turning into the player that a lot of Kelenic fans really wanted him to be. But yeah, again, just Rockies pitch well, and then offense just stay hot. Just find a way to get on base. I mean, again, you do have a somewhat of a pretty good size outfield in Oakland, but again, usually the ball doesn't necessarily fly all that well in Oakland, especially if the wind is blowing in or whatever. But anyways, it's gonna be curious. Again, it's gonna be fun, but at the same time, though, it's gonna be kind of sad because again, this will be the last time the Rockies will be playing in Oakland and then of course next year I believe they'll be heading to Coors Field, and then it's going to be back and forth with the balanced schedule. Now the Rockies will be playing um, wherever the Athletics are going to be playing, which is in Sacramento in 2026. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, like I told Tom, by that point Zach Veen will probably already be up. A lot of the Rockies' top prospects will already be up. So and I was going to mention about like the promotional video that was released where they showed the Braves logo in the A's. Did you see that? Where they
No,
were
I
showing?
didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because John Fisher's talking about whatever he was talking about. I just saw. I think John Boy Media posted this, but like they were showing all the A stuff and how they excited they were going to Sacramento. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, pops up an Atlanta Braves logo. It's just like the video is horrible. I mean, it tells you the promotion of the Oakland Athletics, and it's messed up. And yeah, they didn't do their job right. But it's anyways, folks. If you want to see that, it's on Job Boy Media or somewhere out in the baseball world. Just look it up. But yeah, Tom, do you have any final thoughts as we finish off tonight and look into the A series here?
Well, Oakland does have those unique dimensions along as a unique wall, particularly in right and left center field.
Yeah,
So I'm just looking forward to seeing Mason Miller pitch in this series. I have yet to watch him pitch on TV, so I'm looking forward to potentially seeing him that flame throwing right arm that he has.
yeah,
Um, as far as competing in this series, make it competitive because if you want to get things back on track, this is a series you can get things going in the right direction, especially considering it's on the road as you head back home.
hmm
So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the Giant series is not what we wanted, but we got it, and we just got to move on and hopefully I guess you could say enjoy your last time visiting the dump that has now become the Oakland Coliseum.
yeah,
I'm not sure it's the Almeida Oakland Coliseum, and we'll see. I'm interested to see what the attendance numbers are, just and also see how many people actually are there.
yeah,
But yeah, it's really I got mixed emotions about the whole situation in Oakland. It will be interesting to see if and when the actual Vegas deal is agreed to, because nothing's been agreed to. At least
yeah,
it's been made public.
yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah,
But I am looking forward to seeing how things operate in Sacramento next year.
yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be again. I think if people don't know, it's going to be at the I think the Giants AAA team Sacramento's field. So they've already made a deal with them. So like whenever they're on the road, the A's will be at the ballpark for their home game. So that'll
It is
be
it is kind of funny. There was actually talk about them sharing the ballpark in the AT&T ballpark in San
yeah. I
Francisco.
don't think that would have. There is that rivalry, but and even the Giants were even considering it because again, I mean they're just right across the bay. They can literally see the ballpark from the other stadium. But it's just like yeah, I agree. It was kind of interesting how that was going to work, but I think I don't know why it didn't happen. I mean, it would have been nice
Mm,
because again, they would have had at least more fans. Uh,
Possibly.
possibly that's the question too because again, there's a lot of people that force themselves not to go to the games because of John Fisher and the tickets and all that. But oh well. But yeah, as we wrap up tonight, make sure you're following us on Instagram because I think we're about 8, 9
Mhm.
followers away from hitting 4K, which is going to be super cool. It would be a super big accomplishment for us. We really appreciate it if you guys can go check us out on there. Also follow us on Twitter, X, however you call it. I think we're nearing either 600 followers, I think, on there. But yeah, we're posting content there daily, especially for Rockies lineups, Rockies finals, all that good stuff. So make sure you check us out there as well. But yeah, that will do it for tonight's recap of the Rockies and Giants series. Stay tuned for, need to double check here, for Thursday's recap episode against the Oakland Athletics before the Rockies head home. Do we have a day off Friday? I don't think.
Oh, let
I don't.
me check. Let me
I
check
don't
real
think
fast.
so. Yeah, I mean, I don't think so because usually there's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday series, unless if it's a 2 game.
There's no day off because we go right into the next series back at home against the
Phillies.
against the Phillies. Yep.
Okay, and then we play the Guardians for Memorial Day
I
on Monday. So that'll
no,
be kind of fun because Nolan Jones will be able to play for his former team. So that'll be fun. But yeah, make sure you're staying tuned for that recap, which will be happening on Thursday. Have a good night, everyone, and as always, go Rockies.